legacy as the OPL Kings.
Hello and welcome to day one of week one of split 2 of the 2019 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson, and I could not be more excited to be back. I am joined by my two favorite people in the universe.
Funny, he didn't call us the whole off season.
Yeah. I messaged you 2 days
true.
ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I didn't want to make it awkward today. Congratulations, Jake. You've ruined the split.
Yeah, we're not the most handsome though. We're just his favorite. We've been downgraded.
I mean, but love is more powerful than lust.
Some would say that.
Right?
Capitalism.
That being said, I'm so excited to be back. I'll kiss one of you on the mouth there if you want it. I am pumped.
Yeah, I'm hella keen.
How are you boys?
Good. Pretty good.
New glasses?
You've
Oh,
moved.
oh yeah.
You've changed a lot, actually.
You have.
I've moved city.
I would
I'm
say
still
you've grown
moving.
as a man.
You've changed jobs.
Yep.
You're a full-time commentator now, as
Again?
opposed to whatever you were doing last.
Yep.
You've
That
changed
is-
glasses. You're now a serial
Yeah.
killer.
Oh, what? Oh, what?
They
Are these
kinda-
like?
it's
What's
like-
that movie? The Zodiac? Are these like the Zodiac?
It's a bit like,
glasses?
well, they
Do
never
they
actually
look
knew
good?
who
Can
that
I have
was, but
wanna
it's a
swap?
bit like Jeffrey Dahmer-y.
You're blind though. I hate when we swap. Oh my. They're disgustingly dirty,
What do you
and
think?
also
These
they
look
don't
good on you.
work.
This is a good look.
Oh, I actually
That's
cannot
like
see.
old Bryce.
I cannot
Let's
see.
keep it.
Let's just keep this going.
No, you're actually blind. Give me this.
Have we had a
continue.
good break? That's all I want to know.
Not really. I didn't get much of a break.
You were in the country for like 3 days.
Yeah, I went across to LA and did
Yep.
some stuff over there.
Yeah.
Then came back for 3 days and went across to Taipei and did a cool charity event there. Did the Zotac Cup. It was really nice.
And how was MSI?
MSI was great, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe
NA versus
the most
EU.
historic event we've ever done. Like, is that a fair thing to say?
I reckon. I mean, based on like, yeah.
IG knocked out. Europe beats Korea in a 5-game series. Like, that was pretty historic. I think we had some good upsets along the way as well. So, yeah, I was really happy with how MSI went. And, congratulations to G2. That
Yeah,
was
I don't
great.
think anybody in the tournament expects it to be like an NA-EU final, and then you get it, and then TL got rolled. So it was a little underwhelming at the end, but
Yeah, it was
a
actually
good time.
So TL lost to G2
Yeah.
quicker than we lost to Bombers. So, like, that's just to describe how the Oceanic fans, how fast the MSI final was. We put up more of a fight against Bombers than TL did against G2.
But it's like, it's a little bit of a win for you then. You're like, oh, well,
Absolutely.
we held up longer than these guys.
Yeah,
We
correct.
should be here.
Yep. And the Bombers went 1-1 versus Fongbu Buffalo, and G2 went 0-2 versus Fongbu Buffalo,
Oh!
which means that the Bombers practically won MSI.
Yeah, agree. Can't fault it.
I had a lovely break as well. Thanks very much for asking, guys. I really appreciate that. I mean, you wonder why I didn't call, and I think we've seen it.
Well, what did you do?
What did I do? I did a heap. I did a bunch of work. I made a second baby. Buying a house. There's all sorts of shit going on in my life. I don't have
Yeah.
time to be here. Can we wrap this up? I got contracts to sign and names to pick. But I'm excited to be back. Most of all because there's been a lot of changes
Yeah.
in the OPL as
Certainly
well. And I would say no more so than our first game tonight, which is Direwolves versus Legacy. And Direwolves, basically a team that I've never seen before.
Yeah, completely new roster. 4 out of the 5 members now changed. I believe I saw a tweet minutes before we went on broadcast. Got themselves the 10-man roster, of course.
Yep.
Almost everyone that played on everyone but Biopanther has been put on the OCS squad. Get Back is actually going to be starting in the mid lane today, but they've imported support and jungle, which I think is a very interesting choice and a very good choice, given that how those roles kind of stack up in OS versus international. I like that a lot. And then they've got Katsuri, young up-and-comer in the AD carry position.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like the big thing is that I've always been a fan of importing the support roles because I think that League of Legends players, as we've seen throughout the whole of the offseason, are good enough to be imported to other regions at the top of our roles in the carry positions. But we do play a very, look, I don't want to call it a dumb game of League of Legends over here, but we play a very basic League of Legends most of the time. We play a lot of group and team fight. And I think that teams that have been able to excel within the Oceanic scene have been able to do that, plus something else a little bit better. Generally, if you have the support role, you upgrade things like 1-3-1, like vision coverage, like setup. And hopefully that's what Raze and Totoro bring to this lineup. Because we saw, a pretty shocking last split from Direwolves. I mean, they wouldn't have been happy with how it went, and they've stated that their purpose is now to make it to Worlds. Which, to me, from dead last, I think 1 win to Worlds.
That's a quick turnaround.
I mean, look, you got to have ambition.
Yeah, exactly right. But that's what they've come out on record and said that is the goal.
Do they have a time frame for this?
This split.
My God.
Yeah, 10 weeks, I think. Who knows?
See, this is what I like, because we've also got rates out as coach, Sharp is back in.
Yep.
This feels Sharpish to me in terms of like just that ambition of like.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I love that they state a claim and it's like let's just go for it. Like when this isn't like a building season. This is like we're going for glory.
Who was their old coach? Rach?
Wraith.
Charlie Ray.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Rach, and I'm like, what the hell?
Right, because you gave me a weird look. I was like, no,
what did you just say?
I love that.
That's what you took away from that. Like he makes this like, let's give him a great segment to go towards, talk about Sharp, the new coach, and you're like, what did you say?
Yeah, well, no, he's back. Longtime friend of the show, I think, as well. But like the other team in this game is, of course, Legacy. No changes. Literally, like the same roster coming back. Denny still in the coach position, and they've been very vocal in our Legacy and all of Winston's content that he's just been pumping out in the off season.
Yep.
They're just like, this is our build. Like split number 1, we were relearning the basics, relearning the game.
And we saw a bit of progression.
Oh, absolutely.
As well. Like, let's not throw that aside.
Yeah, 100%. And they are looking to kind of ramp up into this now split number 2.
And do you reckon that a key for them this split would, if they get a Rach, then maybe that could really push them over the edge? I just feel like maybe that would do. Of course, we've got Legacy versus Direwolves as game number 1, but we've got a lot of games this evening. Let's bring up the schedule, see what we're hitting. We've got Direwolves versus Legacy game 1, then Order versus a relatively changed Bombers team for game 2, Avant versus Gravitas for game number 3, and then finally at the end, Mammoth and Chiefs. So we have seen changes basically all the way down, which will be interesting to see how the first weekend sort of plays out.
I think Legacy, Order, and the Chiefs relatively unchanged from what I've seen. Not really all that much going on with those rosters. Like we brought in a new sub. Chiefs have still got their old sub. TM played a game. So I think like there are maybe some things that can happen with these lineups, but 5 teams changing, for week number 1 means that you kind of throw everything out the window. Like Bombers come in, MVP of last split was still Mimic. He's still there. You still expect them to be a good team. However, things like FBI going over to the Golden Guardians, like playing with Luch now as an ADK. Like I feel like the league really has just been like shaken a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. And I mean, Order didn't need too many changes except for the fact that we need to bring up the fact that they're terrible at charades. Like they're just talking the entire time, like going, oh, when you go to school, it's the person who teaches you. It's a teacher. Come on, Dream. Come on. That's not charades. That's just cheating.
I mean, maybe we've called it the wrong game, but it's just that name game that you play with the phone. And I think that, like, when I have seen it done in other content, they do use words as well. So
this lack of attention to detail is worrying for me for the Order split. Of course, let's get into the first game. It is Direwolves versus Legacy. We're going to throw it over to the McDonald's Champ Select and the desk with Rusty and Skimmy.
Very much there, Nick Boy. Rusty, it's a brand new split, a brand new chance for these teams to show what they can do, bringing some of that synergy across from Split 1 into Split 2, but also, as the analysts have already mentioned, throwing up a whole bunch of different ideas. Gelling is going to be a big one. Synergy is going to be a big one. But obviously, with that 10-week period, how can that transition? If you're looking to try and go from a 1-win in last split and then say, hey, we want to go to Worlds, it's a tall order. So we need to sort of see where that's going to go today.
You're not wrong. A lot of changes. Going from last to first is a lot to ask. And, not just changes. Welcome aboard, of course, Skimmy. It's nice to have you here for as long as we have you for. We don't know what it'll be yet. But you're right. With these rosters, I mean, Direwolves are reaching for the stars right now. They are trying very hard to turn everything back around. Legacy's still building, still growing, and trying to improve week by week. And we did see a lot of that in spring. So contrasting these teams, one is super enigmatic. We don't know what the Direwolves will provide. Ray's coming in. Maybe he's really good. Totoro coming in as well. I would say there should be a lot of potential behind the 2 Koreans with what was already a successful Biopanther in the top lane, and Get Back, who's going to be starting today that we saw during spring. So I'm very excited to see how they perform when we get to see them on the Rift. But for Legacy, you would expect them to start where they finished in spring, which is good.
Yeah, and I think for me, Direwolves, many would have coined them as the Dire Pups, as they were almost the development team, looking to try and show something new. Let's see how that can happen. But the step up from OCS and the step up to OPL standard is a big one at that. So changing the roster completely. How do we perform on day 1 when there is a new patch? Bear in mind, we are playing on 9.11, so Yuumi is allowed. We saw Yuumi the other day, actually, in the Oceanic Championship tournament, got played once and played to
everywhere.
effect.
It does require a very different type of play style, and of course, your Sona's been taken off the board. So as we go through all of these bans, the one that sticks out to me so far, not just the Yuumi that goes through, is the Sejuani, which to me indicates that Direwolves won't have the priority as high on Aurelia as you would expect. It would be the Rise or the Akali, which are the other 2 really strong champions. Now, for Legacy, Guts is a Sejuani player, so it's still a fair ban from them. but Aurelia Sejuani is a strong combo, so we may not see that from them either.
Yeah, Sejuani is just a powerhouse, especially in the jungle, for the setup. Potential with the ultimate, especially at level 6. The ability to brawl on out with the stuns, the slows. A very tough champion to duel on with. But the Ryze first pick, nice safe pick, even though it can be counter-picked into. It does obviously give you the potential to stack up, pump out damage, and always utilize that portal.
There's counters, right? But there's nothing that really counters the ability to flex such a strong champion between lanes. Now, with Legacy being on red side, they will always have a counter pick of their choosing. They choose to go for the bottom lane first. They'll look towards potentially the Akali here. It may get locked in because, again, flex picks are the thing right now in League of Legends meta. It's flex and bot lane, basically in the first 3.
Kaiser Nautilus, a very strong bot lane right there. Nautilus just finding so much love right now on this current patch. The ability to trade, especially with the passive, going in for those unique hits and the
so
hook.
Many stuns.
It's just, it's a ridiculous combination between the Riptide and the knockups. You're feeling like the HBO series of Chernobyl. It's just, get me out.
Yeah, there's a little bit too much going on there as well. So Nautilus Kai'Sa locked in strong bottom lane, usually good at matching. Zaya Rakan doesn't hard win the lane by any means, but they don't lose that lane. Lots of scaling right now as well for both of these teams, respectively, in very different ways. The thing that I want to see is, like, the catalyst for this is red side Legacy start to get the advantages through the remnants of the draft with the counters if they choose. They have still got the jungler left to be seen here, however, and I have a feeling that they'll pick the jungler 4th Legacy. I'm just curious to see which one it is for Guts. Where does he want to go now the Sejuani's off the board? Is it something aggressive that goes in and invades, or is it the Guts special? You know, the hard farm, get level 4, and, you know, Scuttle Crabs actually help him a little bit now.
Well, that's the question, especially when you're going into week 1 of a brand new split. How do you actually want to sort of set your identity up as a team? Do you want to completely start afresh based on the fact that you've got a new team of players as well? Do you want to go for an early game composition? Do you want to go for a late game composition? It is a best of 1. There is no second chance. You lose early, you struggle mid, and it may be a snowball. You just cannot push back up that mountain in late game.
And the Pyke also taken off the board here as a top laner. You know, is able to go mid as well sometimes, can go support, but obviously being banned with the support locked in indicates that one of the flexes has been removed, as has the Aurelia. So with Nico, Aurelia gone as well, Silas, Aatrox removed, pretty much all the flex picks are locked in. So once again, I would expect a jungler because you want to save the hard counter for Paprise most likely in that top lane.
Elise coming in there very quickly and instantly to hover onto Twitch. A strong pickup also in the AD carry role, unless they want to flex that into jungle as well. But the Elise, for me, gives them even more AP damage as they're after so far with the Akali. The burst potential is what really springs to mind for me. The ability to dash in, explosive team fights, it's done, it's dusted. The burden of execution a little bit high at times, but if they can land it, will land a devastating blow.
Absolutely. Now, what we get to see here from the direwolves in response is, remember that Get Back and the Nautilus in particular can be flexed between multiple roles. So it may not be the support situation just yet, though it should be. They could actually still pick a support here in response to maybe get themselves a stronger lane and diffuse what could be an Akali in mid lane if they wanted to. Though I would expect to see a mid laner from them, we will see.
8 seconds on the clock as they now look to hover over the gangplank, and they do lock it in. So that's the 5 champions in place for the direwolves, the start of game number 1 of their campaign.
And what makes this interesting is they've taken away a physical damage dealer from the top side of the map away from Legacy. So perhaps locked into something like the Jace for Paprise now the gangplank is gone. Maybe something we see here. They really want physical damage with an Akali and an Elise locked in, but the composition doesn't have too much engage. And this could actually be one of the options for them. So they're going to choose to go towards the Camille. The physical damage is there. And they've got themselves at a gauge complementary type of tool for the Rakan.
Well, if you want to engage, then Camille's got the ability to lasso herself into those team fights without a question of a doubt. So now you have a bit more of a reliable means of trying to set up those fights rather than having to wait for the Rakan to jump on in with the delayed knockup or the Elise to web on in with the Cocoon. It is a little bit easier in that regard, but I look at this composition go, they look a little bit squishy from a very explosive standpoint. You compare that to the direwolves, very beefy in their nature, easy to try and isolate and easy to grab single targets if somebody from Legacy perhaps oversteps their mark.
You know, the thing that stands out for me is the Pyke ban that actually I think is fantastic, because the one thing direwolves have in the way of being tanky is shields. They've got a lot of shielding in their kit, the Ryze, the Lee Sin, the Nautilus, as well as the Kai'Sa ultimate. And with that in mind, Pyke goes through shields with the ultimate, so it's a very good ban from them. But it does still mean that they're not actually tanky unless they get the shields or the aftershocks actually on board. So they can still get picked off And when you look at what Legacy's composition has, it is a pretty significant amount of pick there with the Elise, the Rakan that can instantly engage as well, and just assassination from chaps.
Yeah, and that's definitely the identity I'm seeing from this one, is their abilities. Okay, will we look to try and dominate these lanes? We'll be looking to try and force a very early game priority on camping lanes, looking for early picks, getting early, abilities online, and then trying to snowball that in terms of macro control, ability to take down the likes of Drakes, Barons, the rest of it, and just try and snowball in that best of one that I was referring to just before.
And this is a brilliant setup for a jungle battle in the first game of the
Absolutely.
OPL here. Raze coming in for his first time in the Oceanic Pro League. Guts on one of his signature champions in the Elise. And I feel like the difference in this early game that can snowball the entirety of it is made through the jungle role. If Elise gets ganks, if Lee Sin gets ganks, you'll know that it starts to snowball a lane. And, Ryze Akali, I would say, is fairly neutral. There's a lot of trading back and forth, but early, Ryze runs out of mana if there's no jungle assistance. Top side, Gangplank tends to play weak side, but can do okay if he's left to his own devices and there's no threat of the Elise there. So Raze could get a lot done, Guts could get a lot done, and I'm very curious to watch how these teams start, other than just the fan out that we have right now. It's the first moves. Who makes the first steps? How do Scuttle Crabs come into play here for them both?
Yeah, definitely a case of let's not stick to the 5-man unit and look to try and go for the invade. Let's hold our points, make sure that nothing crazy out of the ordinary has been practiced during the off-season leading into this one. But for the meantime, pretty standard with the opening items. Nothing out of the ordinary there, and nothing crazy, as Oast is known for from time and time again.
And if you ask me right now how to Legacy beat Direwolves from a player standpoint, if we take draft out of the equation, I would focus bot lane. So I think the early Xayah Rakan rotation is smart from Legacy. Praedyth was someone who was almost a rising star in a new role. Former top laner, comes to AD carry. Looks like the one shining light in this team that was struggling, and has continued to improve through the split, even when the rest of the team was getting better around him. Katsuri is he's a new player. He's coming in as a rookie that has to, try and keep up with someone that's pressured so hard. And Totoro, notoriously Korean imports in the support role, very good at being cerebral players, but you never look at them for saying hyper-aggressive will kill you in lane type of style. And that could be a place where Legacy, stylistically, could choose to exploit.
To follow that up, both junglers going for the red start, and with the Direwolves being on blue side, Lee Sin will be down in the bottom lane if he needs to assist in any shenanigans that may take place, with the points you already brought up there, with the priority definitely in favor for Legacy for that. That's now going to start on towards the blue, looking for the easy level 3, and then we may see a little bit of pressure, especially around the middle lane, to try and prioritize what Ryze can do. Manabar looking pretty good at the meantime, but definitely a bit of an issue for him going forward.
Yeah, Ray's gone for the higher experience route here in terms of pathing, clearing the Krugs out as soon as possible to get the second spawn in, so more experience is there.
You see Lee Sin going for their own right now, passing the Scuttle, looking for the invade. There will be a Warden try that will catch him out, but he's looking to try and go for it.
But Nort can get on here even though they see him. Early back away.
Oh, the hook does land, however, and the Sonic Wave doesn't. The Flash has to come across. The Ignite did get used in that exchange, and Predator dropped to half. Flash being the trade of summoners, 1-for-1.
And frankly, that's really rough there from Legacy. If you've got a Rakan with spells available, I'm assuming he doesn't have his dash. If he had the E up, probably would have tanked that hook. But now the flash is gone from Predator, which means that Crazy needs to be very protective through the rest of this if Lee Sin comes down to that area. Should secure the Scuttle Crab on the bottom side, however, here Raze as a result of that early gank and pressure. As junglers being on the exact same side of the map, at that point, Guts can't do anything.
I think you'd have to say right there for Totoro, very, very happy with that trade. He'll take a flash any day of the week.
Oh, for sure.
Giving him all that pressure in the lane, especially the potential and the playmaking ability that that hook can provide. Lee Sin obviously accentuating that, and Lee starts to put a bit of a dampener on what Legacy are trying to achieve in this bottom lane, and back into passive mode as they look to now farm underneath their tower.
Yeah, you have to let the wave reset here before you even consider anything. Vision's not really possible yet. You can see 2 wards on the bottom side of the map. Blue side jungle wards at that. It's a very defensive position for them. So not getting any information on where Raze is whatsoever. He's now gone towards his blue side of the map. May not get this Scuttle as it's going to be contested, but he's got a very good recall timing to get his items and go to bot side again for the second spawn of those camps. So far so good for Direwolves through the early pathing. 600, 700 gold lead. Starts to creep up a little bit from the players in bot side, and a nice CS advantage in mid lane. So overall, just not a big thing, but a nice little start.
Nice little start indeed. Guts has been definitely focusing on a jungle clear, looking to try and get leveled up as quickly as possible. Only just hitting level 4 now to match that of Raze in Lee Sin. But he does pick up the scuttle to claim top lane vision. There was already a pink ward there for protection of a roaming Lee Sin, as Ryze will definitely want to get himself online nice and quickly, get that tier unlocked, and punish this energy-based Akali.
That's nice from Get Back, making sure the wave is in a good position for his teleport. Guts cancels the recall.
That's a really nice cocoon right there. They're going to jump on in. He's in a bit of trouble. Flashes to come out. Chase jumps across, looking to try and connect. Not going to happen. Raze is there in time with the shield, with the support. 2 for 2. Legacy look to try and deny a lot of creeps under the tower.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great little move from Guts. You know, it doesn't seem like a lot. They don't get the kill, but Flash and all of those minions being missed under the turret does hurt. With that recall timing, Get Back does have the teleport, so he'll catch some of the wave. I'm unsure exactly how much, but still, very nice little advantage etched out there from the side of Legacy, especially in experience for Chaz. That is one big difference, so he should get 6 before that of Get Back, as you see it tick over now.
Suri letting the wave push in a little bit. Does have a slight CS lead based on the fact of the amount of pressure they've been able to provide, but Elise is waiting in the brush. There is
Bio has teleport. If they choose to make a play, he is behind them, so they could counter this potentially. Raze has a sniff, they cancel him.
The hook lands, looking to try and jump on in. That's going to be the knockup that we discussed, and that's a very out of mana Ketsuri as First Blood connects just like that. They may even be looking for a second right now as Raze is right there once again for the support. Does force out a second flash. And the amount of pressure that Guts is putting out here, just the presence alone to say you have the flash, otherwise that's an easy double kill.
And it feels like direwolves wanted the 2v2, whether Guts was there or not didn't matter to them. They were stopping recalls with that Nautilus hook, which is much more committal than, say, a Kai'Sa W being able to be thrown out from long range to cancel the recall. So very committed to the cause. And that just comes back to bite them as mid.
Oh, that's a beautiful flash in right there, looking to punish right on top of Ryze, and he gets absolutely deleted. There was no teleport, and that was a talking point before that I wanted to highlight for the bottom lane gank, but teleport or not, the presence and the pressure was there to deliver, and suddenly, 7 minutes into this game, 2 kills just like that.
And that's what happens when you don't have Flash as a mid laner, but more importantly, Papryze with the roam was very clever. His ability to get to mid lane was a result of Biopanther choosing not to teleport, because he walks to lane, he doesn't get lane priority at all, and then it's just free movement from Papryze. It was the unexpected result, however, going mid, but still brilliant move.
Well, the direwolves did pick up a consolation prize, that in an Ocean Drake for more sustain, both in health and mana. And I suppose really that's the silver lining really to a situation where they made so much pressure on the bot lane. They got a flash out there from Pradiff, but they just weren't able to capitalize on that anymore. And that'll help them try and climb back up into a gold lead, as Legacy currently lead by just under 1k.
Getting closer and closer to level 6 of the junglers now. Of course, a little bit more meaningful for the Lee Sin to hit that one, as he just ticks over now with his wolves. So again, that early little experience lead, that early pathing advantage just gives him a little bit more than Guts. And that is a window of opportunity for Raze to try and make something happen. And Raze, it hasn't been mentioned yet, but oh, hang on. They're going to fight mid.
Indeed, that's a flash, that's a connects, it's a 2v2 right now, looking good for Raze so far as he comes on in and connects. The ultimate is there, and boy does he make it count, as Get Back says, well, like my namesake, get away. Does have that tear unlocked, does have the magic resistance as well, and Chaz bites off more than he can chew.
And we just spoke about it, the level advantage being there, Raze being confident in that he is level 6, and the timing coincides with Raze being in the correct position. You know, Guts walked through the opposing jungle, places a control ward at the blue buff, feels pretty confident that Lee Sin's not there, but he is. He's just moving towards the right place at the right time. And there you go, easy as you'd like. Now, back to the point, I feel like it's important to raise this now. God damn it, his name's Raze, I'm going to say that a lot. If you quickly Google search his name, you'll probably see that he is very good at Lee Sin, one of his best champions. And the fact that he's able to get that in the first game of the OPL means that Legacy think they can beat it, perhaps, but I would say now the floodgates are open. They've got him that first kill on the board. Momentum starts to shift a little bit for the Lee Sin individually. We'll see if he can continue that forwards.
It's one of those interesting things, right, especially in a brand new season, about do you disrespect it? Do you let it go through? Are you doing the other teams of the league a bit of a service by saying, hey, this is a character that he can play very well. You should probably ban it. We took a sacrifice. But regardless, Looking to go for the engage right here. The hook lands, the ultimate to follow things up as the pivot
Katsuri
comes on down. Guts is looking to jump on in. The knockup is there. Crazy gets the kill. Crazy gets amongst it. They are looking to be crazy by getting a double. And bottom lane, whilst looking so good at the start for direwolves to start off with the pressure, has just split on its head 2 times over.
And to be honest with you, Skimmy, that's just a big overreach from the side of direwolves. Nautilus ult, their only form of engage. Lee Sin still not having the kick there available at all. And they choose to go for the play. Lee Sin misses the Q. And that's it. There is no follow-up. And now you've walked into Azaya Rakan's waiting arms. And they take you down as Top's going at it.
Top is indeed going at it as Biopanther forced to pop down that barrel. Goes for the shot. And Breeze is, well, feeling quite great about this situation right now. Able to push us under tower. Biopanther will have teleport if he needs it, but this, as you say, once again, gives Kimil the ability just to free roam if she needs to.
There was a 15 CS advantage at bottom lane, even though the kill was there for Praedyth, you would say, fairly equal as the result of that bottom lane. But now he's 2-0-1. Now he's got a really meaningful first item. Katsuri's got the Manamune, so will eventually be quite strong, but it isn't stacked up yet. In relative strength, you'd always look at Praedyth. They're just that little bit stronger right now, and they may start to look for fights.
Hang on a minute right there. That's going to be the rappel up into the air as they look to try and find more. Crazy jumps in. Crazy flashes back. Jumps there. Jumps here. Gets out of harm's way. But Ray says, this is why I play Lee Sin. I will take one down to the grave with me. That's a 1-for-1 trade. That's looking like the Assassins finding the kills that they need. Rise gets amongst it. He just finds the sustain. He finds the double. He's looking for more. Get Back is looking to try and run away. Trying to kite. Using that shrub. Using those
This is
walls.
wild.
The fights go back and forth. It's a shutdown here and a shutdown there. The most important one being that the bounty has been destroyed. As Akali jumps over the wall. And we get to take a breather there, Rusty.
4 dead from Legacy, 3 dead from direwolves. The fight was just utter chaos. And both teams seemingly willing to have the fight at all. You know, Guts is the one who gets caught at the beginning with a hook from Totoro, but afterwards they say, let's dance, and they try and take the fight. But direwolves, honestly, they matched them blow for blow. And that was a really close skirmish. Direwolves do win it. They get the teleport from Chaz at the end, but maybe even closer than they would like.
It just feels like to me the longer these fights go on, the more that direwolves start to come into their own. You just saw the amount of work that Rise was able to do, just getting reset after reset on his overload, just to pump out the damage. And it's only going to get scarier and scarier as the Archangel starts to come to fruition.
And this is where you have to take stock of who was able to pick up all of the kills that went across. It's a 2-0-2 Akali. It's a 3-1 now. Praedyth on that Xayah. Both scale incredibly well and fulfill their purpose when fed brilliantly for 1v9ing if necessary. Whereas mid lane was able to get some gold. Biopanther is on the board on this gangplank as well. So it's most of the carries. And that's a really big deal. They're all picking up the gold. But it does mean that the tanky members of direwolves are not tanky. It's a 0-3 Nautilus with mobility boots. So he's actually still incredibly fragile and is entirely aftershock reliant. Or he is just frail and dies instantly.
Yeah, and you've seen kind of the purpose that he's been fulfilling so far was I will land the hook, the rest is up to my team to try and get in there, because at this stage, I am merely a character with 4 hotkeys to utilize, but they are finding themselves, once again, more pressure from a macro standpoint, the ability to push on through mid lane, utilize that tower damage, then go for a second Drake. This time,
looks like Legacy want this fight here. They've got to control it in the bush. They're sitting. They want to see what spells are used. If Totoro uses his W or his E, if Katsuri uses a W to clear the cannon, you know, getting rid of some passive. It's a free opportunity.
That's a knock-up. Ignite's available for both supports, and the flash is available for Katsuri if need be. Does come in clutch at the last second. So low. Should have been needed.
And it wasn't a spell, it was just positioning. They step up within range, and the opportunity is there, presents itself. Legacy, they may not get kills, but they will get turret plates for free for certain here, as they force both members of direwolves back to base. And Totoro even walking to the inner turret before recalling, so afraid of Guts and maybe even Chaz, who is missing off the map for them. That's going to be the turret.
Yeah, Guts comes down for the roam. You almost saw Akali consider Chaz hovering in that brush by the lip of the river, considering if anybody else is going to show face, but no. Grazer's topside. He's keeping his eye on that farm count, and I mean, look at the CS, 82 to 59. If he's not there going for kills, he's definitely looking to try and power farm him way up. Level 9 to level 7.
Yeah, it's a big lead.
A big lead.
Absolutely. Experience is such a big deal for junglers, especially one like Lee Sin and Elise, who both have executes on their Q in terms of damage output. So having the max rank in your Q is a big deal for Raze. Being behind for Guts, not ideal. It's actually almost more important to hit that than level 6, you would say, at certain points there for the Elise.
Gunblade online now for Akali. Only member in this game so far with the bounty was Azaya beforehand. But it is Legacy looking to form their own legacy going into this one. Looking to try and dispel the namesayers from last split. Looking to keep direwolves in a situation where imports are fragile, they're new, they're bonding, they're gelling, figuring out what their identity is, how they're going to work as a team.
And we've seen the first swap here from Legacy. Of course, they take the bottom lane outer turret. Why not switch the map up? But Gangplank has stayed. You know, Biopanther is sitting there on that wave, and he is clearing it. And so Paprise, you know, contrasting the top laners, wasn't able to save that turret for an extra wave by any means. Gangplank could have even altered the wave if he wanted, but it may have been a cannon. If it was, then there's really nothing that he could have done.
Bot lane's going to get equaled out
Nope,
here.
he could have altered the wave if he wanted.
But Legacy are definitely ahead on a macro sense. They're still keeping up the pressure. You take one, we've already taken that. We're ahead by one again. And this game of cat and mouse can slowly go from reactive to proactive very, very quickly.
And the gold difference is only really 1,000 right now, so it's not significant enough to be any snowballs. And, you know, often when you trade sides of the map, you don't want to trade unless you are behind. You know, you want to be able to match what your opponent is doing on the opposite side. Be there early, be there prepared. And direwolves are able to just stay in the bottom lane and let it happen. Less threat from Legacy in the way of diving top lane, maybe taking an extra wave to set up for that one. Allows Biopanther to match the tempo, so to speak. So realistically, we're just matched here across the board, and everything going pretty simply until we get those first major item spikes in. You know, Trinity Forces are getting very close. Mid laners are hitting those item spikes, and they will be a big deal. And it's the second part of that, you know, get item spikes. How do you want to set up the map? What are your assignments going to be? How do you actually deploy onto the Rift? Because 1-3-1's possible for both teams when the teleports are up for mid laners, and they're very similar timings.
Nautilus finding life a little bit difficult, already going for the max rank on the trinket, whilst Zaya already got the second completed item in that rapid cannon fire. So you're comparing that to the Kaiser with a single Mana Moon, you're thinking, bit of a damage discrepancy there.
Yeah, still a bit. Has got the evolve though, I believe, on the queue with the pickaxe picked up, so could be worse. Pretty comfortable overall. Of course, goes towards the daggers, wants to get the attack speed, I would imagine, caps next and evolve. And at that point, you know, maybe there's a couple hundred gold disadvantage. You would say that's okay because she's got 2 evolves, but it's not a couple hundred gold. It is significant enough to be a rapid fire cannon. So right now, scary prospects to involve the bottom lane 2v2 in any kind of skirmishes.
Bit of a lull as we wait to see how do you want to prospect this part of the map. Things going out here furiously as 3 members of Legacy are on roaming potential. The Drake
Legacy
is online. It's going to be a mountain one, so excellent for the sieging, which has already been a big factor of this game so far.
Yeah, complete control for Legacy when you look at the river. Direwolves still here to contest this. They'll see the dragon is started, and they get permission to walk in because of the scrying plant placed down. Vision will be cleared, but will it be in time as Lee Sin, he is potentially looking to steal.
Gangplank ult comes out, not going to really find much value at all. They can just simply sidestep that one. The TP is there. Paprise joins the team. The full collapse for a second.
They're looking at the Gangplank, so he teleported into this.
Panther forced the flash away. The team collapse. They say hello. 4v1, maybe a 3v1. 4 being Gangplank himself. Question marks there.
That man is the most dead. Of course, when he tried to teleport in, it seemed super early. Had the ultimate on the dragon as well. Direwolves, clear intent to take the fight, but they never actually executed on that at all. Never pulled the trigger, and dragon was taken, and now their top laner is dead. So really rough here so far with the decision making. Could be communication, you know. I wouldn't be too surprised to see people on different pages in week 1, day 1 of a new split with so many different roster members, but
that's something I do like, though. Despite how indecisive that previous play was, they do still look to try and make plays. You don't start to sit down and go, I guess we're just going to lose this one.
That plant just ruined Crazy's day. He didn't get the ultimate off. He didn't even get to charm anybody. It cancels him out and just keeps him on his own side of the rift as well. So good defusal there, though no red buff secured, unfortunately, as that went to Paprise.
Chaz in the solo lane, however, looking to keep pressure on down. Keep eyes on the ever-looming Baron, ready to rock and roll in 30.
I'd love to switch over to the gold as well between teams, because you always have to keep watch for someone like Gangplank for how they're doing. You know, 1-1-3, maybe you'd say is fairly even, but then when you look at the gold, is doing decently well for himself just because he's got the Q farming available for him.
Yep.
So, and of course, it's a grasp Gangplank, so it's not your Klepto that you see get outrageously ahead, which is important. If you don't run grasp now as Gangplank, you tend to int the lanes away.
Yep.
Because that is just the way that the meta has shifted.
But the discrepancy between the AD carries, 2k gold lead in favor of Desire. That's the big one, and we're already working on a BF sword, so you're still looking at a recurve bow there. You're thinking, great, you got the Zerkers, but you're starting to really feel the impact. And we haven't had a full-blown team fight just yet in a while, so can't really assess how much further ahead Pradev is.
Your Direwolves were a very slow team in Split 1. Now they have added 2 Koreans to the roster. I would not be shocked to see them slow down even more. You know, trying to be much more cerebral if possible, place vision. When a jungler and a support are the 2 Koreans, the 2 auxiliaries of a composition as well, that's what you would expect to see from them. Legacy are a fairly quick team when they get ahead, but they do like to play more around the Baron. They still overall are not one of the fastest teams on the Rift. They do relish in the challenge. If you come at them, they'll take the fight, and the games tend to speed up like that. I would know as someone that was, you know, with AV in Split 1. Very fast games between us sometimes.
But exciting League of Legends, which is what we, the viewers, and everybody else enjoy watching. As much as macro can be satisfying, always be the most exciting as the outer turret and mid lane finally does fall on down. That is the third and final one. The outer limits of Direwolves' defense is now falling on down.
It does feel like Baron will be the deciding factor in this game, already determined by Legacy with their positioning. Unfortunately, Totoro misses that ward placed in the lane, so they will still have control even if mid-priority goes over as they're hunting.
They are indeed. That forces out the flash from Katsuri. And once again, you know, this is the pressure that they want. They've got the beautiful lane set up, they've got the vision set up, they've got the pinks in place, and the ability just to run at you with this assassin-based pick comp. Regardless, you're always going to have to be on high awareness.
And you can see with the vision control that Legacy had, the flash being forced was just a result of that. You know, the byproduct of Direwolves, you want to control the wave before you go to the objective. If you don't have mid-priority, walking in is just really, really risky and dangerous. They choose to do the correct steps first, but because the vision's so well set up as it kicks on.
Oh, that's the Featherstorm looking to try and get a pick onto Pradev. Deny the ability for him to be so far ahead into this one. Does force out a flash, and a lot of pain is felt there by Legacy.
Yeah, I mean, that was Raze being very aggressive. That was the flash kick used onto Praetor who flashed himself. So at the end, the kick's fantastic. It finds the mark, but it just doesn't quite get the kill, doesn't net them what they're fully after. However, what that does mean is the Xayah, who's only finally picked up her boots too at 22 minutes, doesn't have ult, doesn't have flash, can get picked incredibly easily. And that just means that Nautilus could have a field day in the next team fight. Find the correct target this time, as it can't be dodged. But there is still only a short window for that, where Xayah doesn't have ult.
And it's one of those characters especially that can always find playmaking potential regardless of what stage of the game you're in, regardless of how far behind you are, even with a score of 0-3-3. The kit itself caters to we can always make something happen, but definitely I'm sure a little bit of frustration there from Direwolves, seeing that Chaz was split pushing bot lane. They had to make something happen around that top side. That could have been an instant rotation through to the Baron. Legacy, they get away lucky this time. They get off scot-free.
And good lane assignments overall here from Direwolves when you look at pressuring for the Baron. But what they've done is they've moved to the Dragon. And that buys time for Legacy to just kick it off straight away. A decent amount of damage. Remember, there's a Mountain Dragon there.
Yes. Ultimate from Gangplank comes out to dissuade them from that one. They do have vision to Direwolves. And this might be the team fight
they're on.
because the flash comes in. That's going to be the knock-up as well. Looking to try and take out one, if they can. Katsuri getting the pick up, and it's a much-needed kill to get a kill count off from that mark.
And they're just going to hit the Baron straight away. Flash is traded from supports. Now Praetor has his ultimate, a bit of freedom here with Nort not having his own if they wanted to contest. But can they get there in time? It's going down so quick.
It really is. Now it's going to be a case of how good are you, Raze?
Oh,
Great at least in, but can you land those smites? Guts jumps in, Guts goes in. Raze gets the first one to Pat Price. They're going to do a trade for trade with both 80s looking to try and pop some damage right now. It's going to be Katsuri taken out. Ryze getting a kill on towards Akali with a shutdown, much needed indeed. And with all things said and done, Dire will say thank you very much. This was the deciding factor, if you will, there, Rusty, and they won.
Yeah, as the carries went in, the solo laners tried to be the hero, stop the Baron from going down. You'll see that in the replay, the Guts is on a completely different page to the rest of his roster. He's looking at Baron. Legacy are looking to win the team fight, and that disconnect may be a big factor as to what cost them the team fight that half of them were looking for in the first place. We'll get to see that in the replay, because right now, direwolves, they've got the Baron, they've got the full reset off, and they've kept a decent amount of summoner spells on their solo laners as well. Teleports and flashes are up. They could 1-3-1 if they want and really pressure Legacy down.
I feel like there's definitely a disconnect of communication right there where Guts jumps in. He's looking to see, well, that looks like a very low Baron. I need to get in there, get my execute before Lee Sin can, get the smite, time it out. It is going to be that 50-50 juggle. But the rest of the team, they're positioning a little bit further out of that pit. Made it very hard for him to try and collapse in and assist him with that. And in the end, picked apart one by one. 9 kills to 8 as direwolves not only with Baron, but got another dragon to their name.
And it goes without saying that if someone is going to do any kind of throw in League of Legends, big or small, it requires good hands to catch it. And that is something that direwolves absolutely did. They all disengage from the Baron. They keep it at 3,000 health so it can't be stolen. You know, they turn, they burn their opponents before they even consider the Baron as a real option. So I like it from direwolves. Very clear in their communication as top laners. Oh, jeez.
Going pretty crazy right now as Biopanther finally finds his mark. The Baron buff definitely coming in clutch right there. And this is a really good situation, quite honestly, for direwolves. They've got pressure in the top lane with the solo laner taken out. Bot lane's being pushed in for free with 2 members there. And they are sieging through mid as well.
And Bio has teleport, so that's going to come down and tank the tower for the minions. There was only 2 alive, but now they have enough damage to lock it down. That's an inhibitor for certain here. The question is what they look to go towards after that one. Mid's not really set up. Top's still got the outer turret alive, so you'd expect it's the one inhib done here for the side of direwolves, where they start to prep their side lanes again for maybe one more push with the remnants of the Baron.
It's good for Legacy. It will give them a bit of a breathing room, a bit of space to start getting those summoners back online. TP is available there for Pap Rise, but flashes were not, especially as Get Back and Katsuri had it in their arsenal, so should a fight have broken out, it would have been a tall order for Legacy to try and find those picks and dissuade a second inhibitor from being picked up.
And this may be an opportunity for Legacy to try and look for picks if they can. Paprise, of course, still having his teleport. He can position in a side lane where the super minions are. But it looks like they're the ones caught.
Oh my. Chaz is in a situation. Smokescreen goes down, dancing with death. That's everything you need to reveal somebody hidden away in the fog of winter. And now they say thanks for the kill, thanks for the memories, thanks for the tower.
Good song.
Good song indeed.
There's only the stopwatches available for Chaz, so he didn't have the Zonias, which is what I was looking for. How is he going to outplay them? But it's not there. He just doesn't have the gold yet. Went for Morello second. And that means the direwolves, not just the outer turret top lane, it will be the inner as well. That final push with the Baron that we were speaking about is wildly successful for the gold influx. Now up to 5,000 in advantage. And the teleport once again tanks the turret. Minions don't die and they have enough.
Well, they do, working on the second inhibitor right now. Mid lane pressure is coming through organically at the same time. So Legacy a little bit split as to where they turn their attention. Who do we go for? Do we try and force a fight? What objectives are available? No Baron for 2 minutes, and no Drake for 2 minutes as well. So from a macro standpoint of trying to find some value, very, very frustrating as the game is being slowly bled out. Direwolves, as you mentioned quite rightly, looking to play a very slow, methodical, almost calculated game with no chance for Legacy to come back.
You know, if you press tab, you look down the roster here for Legacy, all the champions have a whole lot of damage. They have instant engage with Crazy on that Rakan. His flash is almost up. And I feel like if there was ever anything that you start to look towards right now, if you're Legacy, it's get a fight sooner rather than later. Don't let the supers overwhelm your base and try and use that flash Rakan ultimate to pick somebody off. They need to get some deep vision around mid lane because I think the flanks there are the place that they should look for the last ditch effort, really.
Yeah.
With 3 inhibitors gone, it's so hard to get to the next Baron when it spawns, and that should actually just be the game unless Legacy are able to make those plays now.
That's what we're starting to see right now. Those summoners coming back online, and that'll definitely give them a winning edge should they find the setup that they need. But ward control from the direwolves, they're going to try and stem any potential for the likes of Legacy to walk out of their base, to set up any kind of vision, if you will.
Should be the next wave. The supers are crashing in top now. Actually, never mind, it's this wave. They're going to bring some... No, the super doesn't want any of it. He's going back top. He's sick of it. He actually just ditched the boys.
Super.
He's like, you know what? What are you doing?
Saturdays are for the boys. He's like, nah, I'm going to have a
Friday,
quiet one
mate,
with the
it's
missus,
Friday.
mate.
Fridays are for the split push.
That's a tower that's going to soon fall on down. Legacy
Ooh,
have their
force
summoners
the ult.
available.
A simple Nautilus hook forces the ultimate out of Praedyth, and now things get a little bit dicey. Legacy, they have to look.
Repel.
They have to.
The knock-up straight away there from Nautilus as they look to try and start things out. Double stopwatch, what does it mean? It means that somebody's going to get silenced. Somebody may indeed get taken out. It's Paprise that opens up this account, but Katsuri responds with Force, punishing the overextended Camille. The third inhibitor is gone. You've got minions in bot lane, very, very far away, but you have minions in the top side as well. Coming on in, Repel jumps up once more, and take note, direwolves are getting very, very low. The engaged CD resets
Eyes on Praedyth
definitely
and
will
Chaz.
work in favor here of Legacies. They go in again.
Whoa.
They're going to start to find the kills that they need. They get the 4th kill, and this is going to be the clean ace. No doubt about it. That's the triple kill. The shutdown is good. You talk about it. Playmaking potential. Baron is there. A chance to breathe, but super minions might be something that they had to say takes priority.
It's hard to breathe when the minions are suffocating them, but right now they're going to take the last-ditch effort. Praedyth and Chaz Praedyth and Crazy are going to sprint over to the Baron buff. There is only the two of them, and one of them has no health. So he has to rely on his Q to keep him healthy. Praedyth has to tank this, and do they have enough damage as Totoro is just walking here anyway? This seems to be the desperation. This is the moment for Legacy because they should be able to secure this one. And it buys them a lot of time. No more suffocation purely from super minions. No more objective on the map for direwolves to take and end the game with. They have bought time.
A lifeline has been provided right now, although one Nexus turret has fallen. Working towards that second one there. But it's going to be another Ocean Drake that's available. No Elder at this stage, so direwolves forced to get creative once again, but something to take in note is the amount of summoners that had to be burnt to facilitate such a play at a Legacy. The ability that the fight went on for so long, they got so many resets on that instant burst nuke damage, but they were able to convincingly get a 5-man ace.
And even more respite now with the inhibitors starting to come back up. So the bot lane inhibitors there. Direwolves, ideally, they want to take it down to get double supers stacking up again and pushing forwards. But Legacy, once again, gifted another opportunity to get a team fight. If they win one now, which they are tragically on Vision, but if they win one now, they actually can push out of their base.
Yeah.
And that's where the game starts to really shift back the other direction. 32 minutes in, we've mentioned this already, no one's really a pure tank in this game besides the Nautilus. You can just kill someone before they can react, and suddenly the game goes your way.
And even then, with a Frozen Heart and a fully completed support item, you're not really looking at the beefiest of the submarine machines.
Yeah, the Akali will just one-tap him.
But he's been finding the hooks that have been setting up these fights quite nicely so far.
He's forcing Xayah ultimates with just his Q.
Yeah.
You know, usually it's the ultimate that's forcing that, so you can see the amount of pressure that he definitely has. You know, Nautilus right now just one of the strongest champions in League of Legends for setting up team fights, you know, being a tank, but also being able to contribute brilliantly to the bottom lane 2v2. He always comes and goes, Nautilus.
See a lot of defensive wards here from the side of Legacy, looking to catch angles from left to right. Whilst direwolves are coming in thick and fast with their control wards.
The amount of damage now that Praedyth does, the super minions hardly exist. I liked what direwolves were attempting. They wanted to push the super minions into the mid lane, use them as a buffer to get to the side lanes. You know, top and bottom inhibitors, maybe pressure those. But right now they can't. You can see the Baron is stopping them a little bit, slowing them down. And you watch the damage Praedyth does to this super if he's allowed to freely hit it. It just crumbles. And they can't push. So now that third inhibitor is getting eerily close to coming up. Legacy have bought enough time to honestly be able to push out of the base.
Yeah. And the game
Very
gets reset
soon.
again. It gets reset again. Chances for Chaos to spew onto the map once again are presented. And with the objectives of both Elder and Baron up in 3 minutes, gives them the ability to get those flashes online as well. That is for Legacy.
You know, before the show started today, Spawn said to us the average game time is about 24 minutes. And it's nothing like a Legacy Direwolves game to just throw the stats out the window. Because they're going to go the distance in the first game of the OPL here in Split 2.
Yeah, the average is going to be You know, 40
They're
minutes
skewing
plus.
the stats already. They don't even have a sample size and they're skewing it.
One game, one sample size. Definitive stats. But if we take note now of the items, looking at Katsuri actually gone for the completed Zhonyas now, so that gives them the ability to stick around in these fights a little bit longer. Has definitely been a casualty of a few full-on engages lastly, but we'll allow Katsuri to respond much the same as Praetor can by jumping up into the air and buying himself a small window.
The Zhonya's is handy as well, just against something like the Camille ultimate. You know, you can't get out of the arena, but you can buy enough time, 2 seconds out of invulnerability. Helps you to save your ultimate, perhaps, to use that to get out of the arena at all. As it stands, it's really difficult to play into that one. But we'll see. Of course, it is the full AP build, so trying to do as much damage with the W as possible. Good poke comes from him and Biopanther when they are teamed up, as they currently are in the middle lane. Waves instantly die from Gangplank, and Champions take a lot of chunk out of a keg and the W that Kai'Sa can throw.
You can definitely tell the game plan just from the fact that both teams, almost a bit of a gentleman's agreement. You clear the lane, I'll clear the lane. Let's go farm up, stock up,
It's
get
a waiting
these
game.
items.
We got a minute till Elder. You know,
That's
there's
it.
a little while till Baron comes up as well. Shouldn't be too far away, but Elder comes up first, clearly. And that most likely will be, I want to say it's the deciding factor. Both teams are going so hard at each other. I would say that if direwolves win the fight, the game is over.
Yeah, if direwolves get an Elder, it's a, I want to say foregone conclusion, but Legacy have proven when they have these summoners available, they have the ability to make magic happen.
But if Legacy win the fight, it depends on how many people are still alive. They could just run down mid and end if everyone survives and it's a clean wipe. But I wouldn't expect a clean wipe with the amount of damage and outplay both teams have. There's a lot of execution that needs to be respected and is on the line here for who the victor will be.
You just want to see another 2-man Baron. That was quite a show to behold. Very low Rakan.
I want to see what Legacy do with this Elder more importantly. Like, they don't have vision set up. They can't really get vision set up. They have Chaz sneaking about.
Ooh, Sonic Wave dangerously close as Chaz jumps across the wall.
Good check from direwolves. That was one flank. They can't afford to get flanked from anybody. Chaz is really threatening. His positioning is so forward and he's on vision. direwolves may just turn onto him straight away. That could be the catalyst here for the fight. Could be the ignition, actually.
It does get slightly reset there, but I was going to say, keep your eyes on Totoro. How does he position himself here with this Nautilus? How does he
They're
find
taking
that
the
hook?
50-50. They are choosing to have the Smite War here. Surely they want to turn.
He's gone to the flank. Now Totoro's completely separated. That's going to make him almost a dead duck sitting right there as Gangplank comes across with the ulti, looking to zone out as many people as possible. Totoro to the flank. He's got 4 members chasing him as Rage jumps on in. Katsuri finds one. Redemption comes down, tops up the team. Direwolves find a second. Praetor getting low, but Bipem survives. It's not without Zarya picking up one. The GA does get popped.
Chaz is still going, though.
They're looking for Bipem is so low. Elder Drake is a non-factor at this stage. It's a triple kill, and they can still find more. It's the quad kill. Elder Drake, Baron, do we even need it? No, we just need an arena to fight within.
It looks like they're just teleporting to bring the minions in, so instantly clear the wave while the rest of the team takes down the inhibitor. Direwolves, they have made the decision to end the game right here and now. And brilliant stuff coming out of the AD carry of Direwolves, getting a quadra kill in his first game here. Rough start in laning phase, didn't look the best as we hit mid-game, but proof in the pudding, he hit a late-game team fight, and he has more than enough to bring it home for Direwolves as they get the fight around Elder, and most likely the game.
That they do indeed. A long slugfest there, 38 minutes and 17 seconds to be precise, but boy did it give us a bit of a twist and turn. The narrative was definitely not clear from the get-go, but it showcased us that these teams definitely have a lot of spice up their sleeves.
And Direwolves, in a single game of Split 2 of the OPL, have matched their Split 1 record for wins, which is impressive. You have to be happy if you're there. No, it's not too soon.
It's too soon.
How is it too soon? Get Back's got his second win as well. Things are looking up for him in the mid lane there for the Direwolves. And at the end, you look at that last team fight. Legacy was so desperate to get the engage. It felt like that when they went for it, they missed the execution. Lee Sin kicks away the Rakan who flashed and wasn't even in distance.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't feel right from Legacy. I think the pressure was just proving to be a little bit too much, and they felt like they were on a clock.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw Nautilus get into a situation where he was looking to try and get a pick. He went on his complete little island, if you will, right? And they had a lot of members swarming him. And we're saying this is a non-factor Nautilus. He does his hook, he does his knock-up. Outside of that, he's not really providing too much. And that gave free reign, as you quite rightly say, for Katsuri to deal at the damage. The quadra kill that secured the game, set, and match. But for direwolves, it is that one win that they needed, and that one win that they want with a brand new roster, which allows them to come back into a new life. Bit of a confidence boost, I'm sure, for them.
Sharp keeping his reign of supremacy as well, comes back. He's undefeated in the second split of the OPL. What could you expect more from someone like him? Champion trainer in the direwolves there and the staff. Of course, shaking hands is the new two new players are the things that you want to look at here. For Totoro, he did his job pretty well, was forcing a lot of big spells out on the Nautilus with just hooks, which is something that's very impressive from him. And Ray's on the Lee Sin, of course, able to get some flash kicks. Nothing that won the game definitively from either member, but they did their job super well and allowed their carries to do the rest.
Well, I'm sure that's enough for us. So, got some beautiful men on a couch wanting to talk about some League of Legends. So, Nick and the crew, it's time to go to you.
It's true. Beautiful men on a couch and a chair.
And a dog.
Bailey's back. Welcome back, Bailey.
He doesn't
Are you excited? He doesn't care at all. I don't even know
He's
if
been
alive.
up all night watching the Cricket World Cup, of course. Georgie boy has been, so absolutely no cares about League of Legends right now.
It's been a big one, but he should care because what a great match to start us off for the evening. As Skimmy referenced, direwolves would be very happy for that win. They want to make it a Worlds. There's only one way to get there. It's to start winning. And Bryce...
That's as many wins as they got last season.
That's the most wins of any team this split.
Fine, dude.
Yeah, no, but they look like a completely different team. I think early was certainly going Legacy's way. I think laning phase, direwolves were trying to overforce a little bit too far down on the bottom side. Totoro kept going into the Nautilus, kept getting counter engaged. It was like a 2v3 situation there for Pray Crazy. I thought they played the early stages very well. So Legacy did get themselves a lead, but that first time they lose the Baron, direwolves, as soon as they can set up the 1-3-1, looked to be much more convincing from that point.
And I think from my angle, like what I was really excited about is it actually seemed like a really good game of League of Legends. This was a game where people were trying to capitalize on, maybe aggressive plays that teams were going for. And I think the laning phase, in particular for Legacy, was actually stellar. You talk about the bottom lane, but I thought Chaz had a really good early game. I thought that, up in the top lane, Papari's rotating down using his flash and ultimate to secure Chaz a kill is very, very nice on the Camille. So there were lots of really nice setup. It looked to me like Legacy actually very well drilled coming into this game, very much on the same page. Obviously knew how they wanted to play this comp as well. But that one mistake around the Baron, when you're ahead and you have a 1-3-1 comp, then you lose Baron, you kind of feel like the game's like done. Even when you start fighting your way back into it, because as more items come through, it's harder to, and you lose base, right? So what happens is 1-3-1, you're kind of happy to take a side turret and sacrifice a mid lane turret because then you're winning the time war.
Yeah.
But if they just take 2 mid lane turrets, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, how much of our base are we going to give up? Like split pushing. How much of our base are we going to do getting our side laners ahead? Yeah. And they decided that they had to start team fighting, and then the game just kind of, fell away from them there.
Yeah, and I always do say, like, 1-3-1, it's about the setup. Once you're in it, once your side laners are actually pressuring turrets, like easy pickings. You just you win by default. You just keep playing out that game. But as soon as you do lose it, hugely impactful. But the one man on the direwolves that I do want to point out is Raze and the Lee Sin. Rusty was saying it, big Lee guy coming over, got it his first game of the season. Obviously very comfortable. I feel like he engineered a lot of their successes this game. And with the other Korean duo in their support, out of lane looked much better.
Sure.
And all of these team fights that you were talking about really did start off that way.
Yeah, and I think I want to hold off my praise for the team fight scenarios just because I think their comp was much easier to team fight with.
Yeah,
you have a Gangplank, you have a Nautilus,
Rise.
Even Lee Sin is much better in the team fight than Elise is going to be. So I think that once you got to that point with a gold lead, much easier for Kai'Sa to do her job.
Yeah.
So, very good quadra kill. Katsuri would be happy winning his first game.
Yeah, finish your first OPL game with a quadra kill. That's sick.
That was great, but up until that point, he was 2-5, I think, and the bottom lane did get picked on. So I think, credit to Raze, played a very good early game. The direwolves are a gritty squad. That's actually a hallmark of the direwolves. They are one of the teams. We always used to say when we played the direwolves that if we got a lead, it was like, when are they going to come back into it? When does a game come 50-50? Then when they got a lead, it's like, how quickly do they end the game? And I think that shows how gritty they are at their best. Yeah. But I think that this was a game that the team fighting was made to look a lot easier than it should be because you're playing against Akali, you're playing against Camille, all these champions, definitely not good team fighters. So, credit to them to get back into that point of the game, but I kind of think it was lost when Legacy had to start taking the bait on those team fights a little bit.
And even though it is the loss for Legacy, I feel like it was a good loss for them. They
great
put
loss.
up a great fight. It's exciting to see the change that they've had over the last 6 months and will continue to have over this split. And if you want to see the ultimate version of these teams at the end of the split, you have to come to the MEO, where you are having a live on-stage grand final at the Melbourne Esports Open. So please, tickets are available starting now. Head to melbourneesportsopen.com.au/tickets and come hang out for a massive, massive day of League.
Absolutely, it's going to be in Richmond in the middle of the sports precinct there. You got Margaret Court Arena, Rod Laver Arena. You got the home of the Tigers just around the corner as well. Walking distance from some of the best coffee and food there is to offer.
Come on. The City of Melbourne is paying you something out of the table for this.
No,
This is
absolutely
ridiculous.
not. City of Melbourne doesn't have to pay me for anything. It is the best goddamn city on the planet. And I absolutely
Stay
love
on the dog. Never come back to Jake. Head to melbourneesportsopen.com.au/tickets for your tickets. We'll be back after this short break.
How good are you, Raze?
Oh,
You're great at least in, but can you land those smites? Guts jumps in, Guts goes in. Raze gets the first one to Pat Rise. They're going to do a trade for trade with both 80s looking to try and pop some damage right now. It's going to be Katsuri taken out. Rise getting a kill on towards Akali, which shut down, much needed indeed. And
Clear in their communication as top laners. Oh, jeez.
going pretty crazy right now. No, direwolves are getting very, very low. The engaged CD resets
Eyes on Praetor
definitely
for
will work in
Chaz.
favor here of Legacies. They go in again.
Whoa.
They're going to start to find the kills that they need. They get the fourth kill. Onto the flank. Now Totoro is completely separated. That's going to make him almost a dead duck sitting right there as Gangplank comes across with the ulti, looking to zone out as many people as possible. Totoro to the flank. Got 4 members chasing him as Rage jumps on in. Katsuri finds one. Redemption comes down, tops up the team. Direwolves find a second. Praetor getting low, but Bipep survives. It's not about Zarya picking up one. The GA does get popped.
Chaz is still going though.
They're looking for it. Bipep is so low. Elder Drake is a non-factor at this stage. It's a triple kill. And
At Macca's, our burgers are now hotter, juicier, and tastier, with onions added at